Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I have with me the distinguished diplomat, Ambassador Talmiz Ahmad, who has been India's ambassador to Saudi Arabia, to the United Arab Emirates. He's also been the ambassador to Oman. He is also a prolific scholar and a writer. He has written 4 books, frequently comments on international affairs in global media. I have with me one of his books here, which I use in my undergraduate classes. It's called West Asia at War. I think this is your last book so far,
Yes,
Ambassador Saab. So I recommend it to those of you who want to look at the Middle East from the East. I think that's one good way of
from
describing
the non-Western perspective.
from a non-Western perspective. It is quite illuminating. A couple of my students actually borrowed it and they found it very interesting. They said, "Oh my God, the world looks so different from the other side." I said, "Yes, it's
Absolutely correct.
yeah." So thank you very much for writing that book. So, do you think India is risking its irritating the U.S. administration by trying in various ways, in a sort of passive aggressive fashion, to deny the role that the U.S. has played in the ceasefire because it wants to maintain the facade that everything between India and Pakistan is settled through bilateral means, and therefore this acknowledging the U.S. role in some way diminishes I don't know, India or Prime Minister Modi's importance. Do you think that there is a risk there because Trump keeps saying it again and again, and then immediately we hear somebody, either the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs or others, indirectly not calling him a liar, but implying that that is not true?
This has become a niggling irritant. We are dealing with a phenomenon called Donald Trump. Donald Trump does not abide by normal rules of international interaction. He is the master of his own verbosity and his own rhetoric. And he does what he feels he should do. Now, as you know, this is a sensitive matter. It's a sensitive matter as far as India is concerned because no Indian leader likes to be seen that he was pressurized into ceasefire by some third party. It should be his own sovereign decision. And normally this passes. We are aware that Pakistan, up to now, what we have said, the narrative that we've had in India is that the United States intervened to, in the case of Kargil, they want Pakistan to withdraw and end conflict. In the case of Parliament, they did not want it to escalate. But all of this was done behind the scenes. The Americans at that stage did not speak in public about the counseling that they had done behind the scenes as diplomats. As you know, many diplomatic interactions take place, which we very rarely speak about. And this could have been the same thing. After all, Vance and Rubio talking to people is part of the pattern of what Americans have done before. But this is the first time that you find Donald Trump taking full credit. You see, Donald Trump, as I said, firstly, there is this personality of Donald Trump. He's a unique person, and any attempt to quote unquote understand him will fail. But at the same, this is we have to accept that he's a phenomenon, and the phenomenon now he has no interest whatsoever in the fact that his remarks are causing very deep embarrassment in New Delhi and to his good friend Mr. Modi. Because as I said, these are things that are done behind the scenes. Neither Vance nor Rubio have taken credit for their intervention. But because they are friends with both countries, they did what American diplomats have done over the last 25 years. So this is the only thing. I don't think it is harming bilateral relations. He has said it as many times as he wishes. Most of us in India now think this is what Donald Trump does. Let's get on with it. I think the ceasefire today is not a major issue. When it happened, it took many sections of Indian opinion by surprise, particularly those who were part of the jingoistic element, and and who had been persuaded that India is going to destroy Pakistan once and for all. They were shocked when the ceasefire was announced, and they, in fact, trolled the foreign secretary. But 2 days later, Prime Minister Modi spoke in the public domain and set out certain basic points as far as India is concerned. Those have become much more important than President Donald Trump's tweets or taking credit here and there. There's 2 points that Prime Minister Modi has made are very important. Number one, that an act of terror will be deemed to be an act of war and will be responded to accordingly. And second point that he has made, and I think this is an oblique reference to the fact that there might have been a concern expressed from Pakistan to the Americans, or the Americans independently arrived at that conclusion that there could be an escalation that would involve nuclear weapons as well. And they might have mentioned it. Possibly, that whatever it is, Prime Minister has made the point that in future, considerations of nuclear restraint will not influence our actions. This is an important point, and this is the one that needs to be addressed. Up to now, why we have had this constant issue, and I have mentioned to you all the episodes from 1999 onward, Pakistan denies that heinous act of violence that initiates everything. There is not a single event in these encounters over 25 years which India has initiated. All of these, the Kargil war, the attack on Parliament, the attack on Mumbai, the attack at Uri and Pathankot, the attack at Pulwama, all of these are attacks by Pakistani-sponsored terrorists who have been acting with impunity for so long. And that is what Pakistan denies. Now the narrative begins for India with this act. For Pakistan, it begins with the initiation of military action by India. So we are on different wavelengths. India would like to be finite. That is why we focus so much on terrorism. That terrorism is the one act that initiates the conflict, initiates the distress. And when you look at what happened at Pahalgam, 26 men killed on the basis entirely of their religion in front of their women, and there are women who are then seen as bereft, which is why we call this Operation Sindoor. Similarly, if you go back to the Mumbai attack, a heinous attack, a wanton attack, ordinary people killed at the railway station, people killed at the Taj Hotel and the hotel set on fire, people killed at the Trident Hotel, people killed at the Leopold Cafe, very innocent people killed at the Jewish home. All of these are the start of tension and conflict. And unless you accept that, we can go nowhere. This is understood in the Gulf. It was not earlier. I have admitted to you frankly that, but once Mumbai happened, I had no difficulty in persuading my interlocutors that this is a state that sponsors jihad.
Ambassador Talmiz Ahmad, thank you very much for sharing such a detailed analysis of the region, the role of the Gulf in Indo-Pak relations and regional security. As always, you have been very frank and candid and full of information, analysis, and insight. Thank you very much for joining me today on Conversations, and I look forward to engaging you in the near future again.
Thank you very much, Professor, and all good wishes to you.